Hey guys, it's Mrs. Qualley. In this video, we will be writing our terms and definitions in our figurative language flipbooks. You might ask yourself, what is this video for and why did we make a flipbook? Well, now that you have your figurative language flipbook made, you just need to add the terms and definitions so you can view them from the front of your flipbook. I'll walk you through these terms and definitions in this video. Feel free to pause as you need so that you can write down each term and definition as I discuss them. There will also be a few questions for you to answer along the way, so make sure you pay attention. This flipbook will be used as a resource during your poetry unit that we are just starting, so write clearly to make it easier on yourself, and take care of this flipbook and keep track of it, because at the end of the unit I will collect it for points. So what is figurative language and why do I need to know it? So figurative language is language that uses words or expressions with a meaning that is different from the literal interpretation. Figurative is the opposite of literal. Literal language is used when a person is stating facts. Figurative language, in comparison, uses exaggerations or alterations to make a point. So if you wanted to say, I am very hungry, a way to do that using literal language would be just to say, I'm very hungry. But if you wanted to say that using figurative language, with figurative language, you would say, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Obviously, they're not saying that they would actually eat a horse, but they're just making a point by changing the meaning of those words to say that they are very hungry. We will be using figurative language a lot in this poetry unit because it's creative and expressive, so it's used a lot in poetry. It's also used a lot when speaking or writing, so it is very helpful for you to be able to recognize, understand, and use different types of figurative language. There are many types of figurative language, but in this video we will be talking about 7 of them. First figurative language term you are going to write on your flipbook is simile, and the definition is comparing two unlike things using the words like or as. For example, his temper was as explosive as a bomb, or his temper was like a bomb. What is meant by this? Instead of simply saying he has a big temper, the speaker is trying to make a point as to how big the temper is by comparing it to a bomb, instead of just saying he has a big temper. Type of figurative language to add on the next flap is a metaphor, and the definition is comparing two unlike things without using the words like or as. So similar to a simile, but not using like or as. An example is life is a highway, and by saying this, the speaker is comparing life to a highway in order to prove the point that life can be a journey, just like one takes on a highway. The speaker could have just said life is a journey, but felt that comparing life to a highway is more creative and expressive. Third type of figurative language you are adding to your flipbook is a hyperbole. The definition is an extreme exaggeration. An example is when someone says, I've told you 1,000,000 times. Now, most likely the speaker has not actually said the same thing to someone 1,000,000 times. However, exaggerating is used in this case to prove a point, that the speaker has told the listener the same thing a lot of times and shouldn't have to keep repeating themselves. Here is a picture of what your flipbook should look like at this point. Please remember you can pause the video so you can write the terms and definitions at your own pace. Flipbook, you should write the term alliteration, and the definition is the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of 2 or more words close together. For example, Carrie's cat clawed the couch. It is important to note that alliteration refers to consonant sounds at the beginning of words and not to vowel sounds. The repetition of vowel sounds close together is actually another type of figurative language called assonance, but we are not focusing on that in this lesson. So remember, alliteration refers to consonant sounds repeating at the beginning of 2 or more words close together. The next type of figurative language on your flipbook should be onomatopoeia. The definition is a word that imitates the sound it makes. Some examples of onomatopoeias are boom, crash, buzz, splat, clap, plop, and drip. Now, these words sound like how it's read, and that is what an onomatopoeia is. And we will talk about more examples of these in class tomorrow. Another type of figurative language to add to your flipbook is idiom, and the definition is a phrase that is often used and not to be taken literally. Some examples of idioms are "It's raining cats and dogs," "That car came out of the blue," "I'm all ears," or "Hold your horses." Clearly, these idioms do not mean exactly what they are saying and are meant to mean something entirely different from the words that are used. And last but not least, on your flipbook, you should write personification. And the definition of that is giving a non human thing human characteristics. For example, the sun played hide and seek with the clouds. Now we know that the sun cannot actually play hide and seek, neither can clouds, but somebody might say this in order to explain in a more creative way just how the sun was behind the clouds. All right, you're all done with your flip book. You should have filled out all of the flaps by now. Make sure you bring it with you to class tomorrow, and we will talk a little bit more about each type of figurative language and write down some examples in our flip books. Make sure you bring it with you each day, actually, and take good care of it because, again, at the end of the unit, you will be getting points for turning in your completed flip book. Here's a picture of what your flip book should look like, and again, I hope you wrote in pencil, so if you made any mistakes, you can make those changes before you come to class tomorrow. Thanks for watching.